Welcome back everybody. Today, I'll be honest, I don't even know where to start. 3 bikes, 1 owner. We've got to make 3 into 1 basically. So we've got a massive list here. Red one's being sold, blue one's being sold. Santa Cruz is a new bike. And we want all the good bits off this one, and a few bits off this one, and some more bits that are being delivered all onto this one. And I've got 2 days to do it in. So better get cracking. So I go through the list. The red one is the Patrol. We're taking the forks off the Patrol, putting them onto this Nomad hopefully. Let's see how long the steerer is. Swapping bars over, swapping derailleurs over, maybe swapping cranks over, grips. Bergtech is all staying on that bike. Where do I start? So this is where I'm going to start because this transition needs to be collected today. These gold bits are coming off and going onto the Nomad, and the Nomad black bits are going onto this. Make this basically a rolling chassis, get it out of the way. 3 full-size mountain bikes pretty much fill this workshop at the moment. They're just huge things nowadays, aren't they? Anyway, so I'm going to take these off. I'm not going to go into massive detail on everything because the video will be like 10 hours long, so I'll fly through where I can. Do some more chunky bits like swapping the forks over on those 2. So I've got a CushCore to go in here with 2 new tyres. Tyre look brand new to be fair. Anyway, and we've got a full set of SRAM MAVENs coming for this as well, so all these brakes are coming off and a full set of brand new SRAM is going on there as well. So yeah, got plenty to do, let's get going. Oh, and one last final thing, this is going on here as well. So the most challenging bit on this is going to be getting this off because obviously we're on a dropper, we've got a cable in the way, so they're very lightly clamped in here, it's not actually any pressure on there at all, because obviously I can't clamp it on the seat post. So let's take this off. I fitted this, but I can't remember what the cable was like. Let's have a look. Of course the cable's not long enough. So I need another inch. Story of my life. So I'm going to turn this bar around here and then hopefully we can just thread this dropper cable through a little bit. If not, we'll have to take it off the bar and thread the cable through just so we can detach it at the bottom of the seat post. No chance. Right, I've got to take it off the lever. So once this is off, I can put the lever basically here and we've got all the slack. This will just push in now to give you that extra slack. Right, that post should come out now. Right, finally. So it's just going to unhook here. Like that, leave that there, take this off, put the black one on here, then reconnect that. I was presuming this is the right size, I probably should have checked that. I really should have measured these first, shouldn't I? I'm sure it'll be fine. Unhook this one. Of course it fits. Do you think I am Larry? Yeah, this is day after Larry Gate, by the way. Alright, that's the first bit on. Put this dropper back in. I'm not sure if this dropper's even staying, I can't remember, but otherwise I'm going to end up with bits absolutely everywhere, so temporarily put this back in at least. I need to keep checking to the list. I'll clean the post and put some fresh paste down here because it's a bit on the dry side now. Thank you. Right, so that's that bit done. Next off, we're getting this stem off. I'm just going to clamp this lever back on first. So this is an EMTB, it's not just an MTB obviously. The other 2 are manual, is that the correct terminology? Yeah. Alright, stem. Be nice to get rid of at least this one just to free up a bit of space and minimise confusion of what's going where, because I'm still confused. Good job I got a list. Well, to be fair, it's a very, very regular customer of mine. You've seen this bike at least, and I think you've seen the red one as well. Yeah, you have. Obviously the Santa Cruz is the new one. Nice bike actually. It's off. We're going to take the spacers as well obviously. We might be, the issue is going to be around the fork swap, as how many spaces we can get on, but basically it is what it is, that's her choice. So if she ends up 5-10mm lower, so be it. Obviously you can change the steerer on the fork and a CSU unit, but I don't do those, that's for sure. Right, I'll get the stem off the Nomad. So there's another Bergtech on here as well, so it should be a direct fit. Well, there will be a direct fit, just a different colour. Right, first issue, we don't have enough orange spaces for this fork, but like I say, this fork is coming out, so it'll be too long. So temporarily I'm just going to put some extra spaces on here. Chunky boy. Yeah, we have got one more, that's not going to be enough though, is it? Right, like I say, this is temporary, this is coming back out again shortly. Get this bar in. So I'm not going to torque these or align these because it's coming out again, as I've mentioned once or twice. But it's just easier to spend 30 seconds putting this in rather than having bars and stuff hanging around all day. I can only work on 2 at once, not 3. So I'll put this one back on the transition. Just tension this headset now. And straighten the bars up. Right, that's that bit done. Pedals next, and then I think we can get rid of this one, which would be nice. Pedals. So Bergtex. That one came off a bit easier. Right, they're going on the blue one. Might be a bit of a colour clash, but hey. Grease and a washer on these as well. These cranks might be coming off as well, just to make it even more interesting. Right, that's the first few bits moved over to this one, and now we can get rid of the blue one. We've harvested all the bits we want off this so we can get them out the stand and get cracking with the real jobs. So Bergtex stem, pedals, seat lamp from relay. That bit's done. Good. Right, I think that's it from the relay. What's next? God. So one of the bigger jobs is transferring these forks from this bike to the red one and vice versa. So the steerer is definitely longer on this one, but I think the one on the red one is going to be just long enough to have a similar sort of stack height on this one. So it should be pretty much a straight swap, hopefully, potentially just swapping the crown race over. So I'll just drop the wheels out. Like I say, this brake is coming off anyway, so I can take all that off, and then we'll just swap the forks over. I'll be a bit limited soon as to what I can do, because I'm still waiting for this delivery from another bike shop, apparently sending it to me with the tyres and a new rear shock for this, and the CushCore and the brakes. So we're waiting for a few bits, but we can do the forks. I'm presuming there's mudguards staying on this fork here. TRPs on this one, but these are staying on this bike that's getting sold. Now you can see why I needed a bigger workshop, or need a bigger workshop. We'll see what happens. You can see my video about my potential move that's sort of been put on hold. I should have been moving to a new unit a couple of weeks ago, but it didn't happen. Not my fault. I'm pretty sure this bar is actually going on the Nomad as well, so we might be able to do that at the same time. Well, it's getting confusing. Handlebars from Patrol, please cut to 750. Right, these are going on the Nomad then. I'm going to trim them at the same time, but I'll do the fork first. Don't question me about the choices of which fork goes where. I don't, it's just a customer's choice. So. Personally, I couldn't tell you which is the better fork. I don't have time to follow the market like a lot of you guys will. You'll tell me the insides of every single one. I'll just fit them. If that's what the customer wants on the bike, that's what they'll get. SRAM G2s, so yeah, like I say, we've got a full set of MAVENs coming on this. I don't know if there's rotors with it, nothing's arrived yet. We'll find out. But these are now officially spare brakes. So I'm guessing she's going to try and sell some of these bits to recoup some money. I'll drop the actual fork out. It's going to get a bit challenging now. I need 65 pairs of hands in a minute. I've got a dummy fork here from Part Tool, but to be honest, I'm not a big fan of it because look how tight that is. It's tighter than the fork. Too big, guys. Right, this is going to get super challenging soon. Right, so there's one fork. Now I get this one off. We've just had a viewer drop off the bike. It's going to be featured in a video soon. Hi Matt. Nice bike. Get cracking on that pace. I want to see that one. Right. Fork number 2. I'll just swap the crown races over and hopefully should just drop straight in then. This is a split one. This one's not. So the split one should literally just pull off. Like that. Don't get much easier than that. I'm just using this Ice Tools crown remover. Just hooks underneath it and you just tap it off. That's loosened it and then you just tighten these back up and repeat. I don't know why they're all not split these days, I don't know. There she is. This should just drop straight into the Patrol now. Clean this up. It is split and they don't really get stuck, but let's just get some grease on here anyway. And that's fitted basically. Right, so this should, I think this is the right fork. This should drop straight into this now. With its new crown race on it. Looking good. Spaces are going to be different now obviously because we've got a different length of steerer. Right, and breathe. I'm just going to very lightly tighten that up while I go and grab a spacer. So it's going to need just one little spacer on there. I think the customer's got a stash of these, so I've asked her to bring them along when she collects the relay. So this should all just drop down here, nice. That feels good. Right. Fork 1 transferred. I'll just refit this off camera, nothing exciting there. And then this crown race needs to go onto this fork now. This does need grease because this is a bit of a press fit job. Not so much press fit, but a bit of a tap. And that will go onto there, and we just need to drift that down ever so slightly. Grab a tool for that. Like I say, most of these 1.5 inch races are split races, so I don't actually have a crown race tool. So guess what, 3D printed one. So that'll go on there, like that. I do have a part tool crown race one, but it doesn't fit 1.5 inches, so we'll just use this on top of that just to drift that in. Super easy. It doesn't take much pressure to get these on, to be honest. When the tone changes, you know it's basically home. Should be on there. So just check this gap is even all the way around. Looks good to me. I'll get this in there. We'll check the bearings while we're here as well, but these look absolutely pretty much brand new, to be honest. So that's a bonus. Clean this up and get some fresh grease in there as well. Let's see how this steerer looks now. Like I say, it's a bit shorter than the one that came out, but I think we've got enough. Yeah, we definitely got enough. The top bearing is immaculate as well. That'll go in there. I think we'll definitely get at least one spacer in there. I think we'll go one top, one bottom for now. Look at that, made for it. More than long enough. We could actually do with another spacer. Like I say, I think she's bringing some over in the next hour or so. I'll button that up for now as it is though. Yeah, I've got one actually, I forgot. There you go. Certainly looking pretty colourful, isn't it? So that's one of the bigger jobs done, and even that was pretty straightforward. Like I say, these are not too bad these days to work on. Once you get compatibility right, pretty straightforward. Feels okay as well. I'll check it when I get a wheel in on the ground, but it feels good. Just one thing to note, obviously on this fork here, it's designed for a different size rotor as it's standard. Doesn't need this adapter anymore. This pads are nowhere near the rotor, so I'll take this out, bolt it straight on, and that's going to work perfectly. However, these bolts are way too long. I can see the rotor and the pad actually line up perfectly there, so I'm just going to find some shorter bolts. Right, Fox forks from Patrol. Patrol RockShox forks from Nomad. Done that bit. Also done this one, stem seal. Stem, seat clamp pedals from Nomad to relay, done. Same as that, basically the same job. Note to Schwalbe, white pens don't work in workshops. Soon going to be a black pen. So next up, I'm going to do the bars. I've just remembered I've also got to swap the shifters over. So these are NX on the Nomad and GX on the Patrol. So we're going to swap the rear mech and the shifter over. We're not swapping the cassette because one's on HG driver, one's on XDR driver. So the cassettes will stay the same, but we're changing the mech and the shifter. So obviously these brakes are coming off, grips are coming off, everything's coming off this basically. So we'll just swap the bar over and then wait for the new brakes. I'm not sure how much difference there is between the handlebars, but that's what she wants. So the owner just came and took away the blue one, the relay, and she didn't bring me any spacers. Never mind. Right, she said chop these down to 750. They're on 755 at the moment. 5mm either side. Oh, it could be a challenge. Right, bar is swapped-ish. So this gear lever is going onto the Nomad. This is a GX, and the other one on the Nomad is an NX. Same with the derailleur. So we're swapping the shifter and the rear mech. So no point putting this back on this bar. May as well change them over just now, I think. Let's do that. Cut this cable off. We're probably going to have to put 2 new inner cables, but that's fine. Take this out. We'll run 2 new inners, but I'm not changing the housing. I think this one's had a new one fairly recently actually. So hopefully the MAVENs come with compatible levers for these matchmakers. So I've just got to take this bracket off this one for the other lever, and then we should be okay. So that'll go onto the NX, which will allow me to actually fit it back to that bar. These are not too bad, you just pop this out. A lot of the SRAMs you've got to unscrew the top cover, but this one's got its own little flap. So I can go through there. And these grips from the Nomad are going back on instead of the red ones. So I've left the dropper lever off at the moment because we've got to change the dropper post itself. We might have to swap the lever with it. We'll have a look, see which one's the better one, and make that decision shortly. Right, what's next? Gear cable, and take this rear mech off. Right, so I'll just split the chain and take this rear mech off as well. Guess what? We're also changing the cranks. They should be fairly straightforward. They're both on the same bottom bracket. And the NX back onto this one then. I'm going to set all these gears up as well. I'm not going to pay too much attention to this one because it's getting sold, but we'll get it shifting. Hopefully. There's a problem there. I'm going to put this GX on, but this top jockey wheel is seized almost solid, so we'll have to revisit that in a minute and put it on and out of the way for now. We can still do the jockey wheel while it's fitted. So we're leaving that in there. Sort this out in a minute. So we can pull these cranks and take these pedals off that I've just put on there. Oh God. SRAM cranks, right. So you've all seen all the Instagram posts about how ridiculously tight these are and how many stupid techniques you need to get them off. Alternatively, you could just do this. Oh, that was challenging. I'm knackered. There we go. There you go, boys. That's how you do it. Right, I'll keep the same spaces that we got on this one onto the other one. You should just drop straight in. Clean it up first. Bearing feels really good. I think this bike's been well looked after. Cosmetically, they're definitely not the best, but we could always upgrade these, I guess, at some point. I'll drop in there. I think it is definitely a better chain set, and it's shorter, which is what she really wanted, so 5mm. Well, yeah, it's seen better days. Never mind. Black PPF or something like that. That would hide the worst of it. Right, tighten these up to 54 Newton meters, which is pretty damn tight. To break out a special torque wrench for 54, my other one only goes up to 40. There you go. So with the cranks on, we just need to set this preload ring here. It's 2mm, I've already loosened it. Just screw that in very gently until it stops. And that's basically all we're taking any lateral play out side to side. And that's it, don't go any tighter than that. And then tighten it down with your 2mm Allen key. Which is normally in the most awkward position of possible. Cheers, SRAM. And just tighten that down until there's a little plastic gap. I can't really show you on here, but there's a little plastic gap. Just tighten it till it stops, and that's it, tight. Strip these pedals again to the old cranks. I think we're getting to a stage now where we're almost done with the red bike, the Patrol. Cranks and pedals done. Let's sort this jockey wheel out next. So I've just quickly whipped that out, and this bearing in the middle is seized solid, so that's why it's stiff. I've got replacement bearings for these. I don't have replacement jockey wheels. You don't really need them, you just change the bearing. Sorry, I thought I'd recorded that. I just pressed a new bearing in there. 2-minute job. We'll probably do the new set really, to be honest, but like I say, it'll get it away for the day. She wants to go out the weekend, so this will get it going. And those bearings are pennies. I've just found the first thing that's not compatible. I thought there'd be a few, but it's quite a big one, unfortunately, like the wheel. I'll show you. Yeah, that's in, doing what it's supposed to do. Chuck this chain back on now, grab a gear cable, see if the gears work. Right, so obviously we need a gear cable. We can try these limits though. That looks good. That looks good. So we grab a cable, stick that in there, and see if it indexes. So I was saying, the price of the jockey wheels, you're not going to be far off changing the rear mech anyway. It's in a bit of a sorry state. It's 4 or 5 years old now. Normally a lot of play in there, but this one's actually not too bad, so maybe. So to change the GX cable, you've got to take this piece out here. So if this is on your bar, you know, you've got to take your shifter off normally to change your cable. Don't have to do that with other manufacturers of shifters. Click that out there, and it'll just pop out. Just like that. Just thread a new one through there. So before I throw that bar in, I'll show you what the problem is. This wheel, these end caps here, do not fit this fork. They don't fit in there. This end cap is too big for the cutout in the fork. So we're going to have to order some new end caps if they're available. Shouldn't be too difficult to get hold of, otherwise I guess we're putting the other wheels in this. Anyway, that's a tomorrow problem. Let's get this handlebar on. Like I say, she's asked for it to be cut to 750, but we're pretty much 755. It's 5mm. I really can't see that making a huge difference. It's going to be quite challenging to cut such a little piece off. If you use a pipe cutter, it's not going to rest on this piece of the bar, so it'll just fall off. You could just obviously hacksaw it, so I'll end up doing that, I guess. I'll do that now before I fit it, actually. I can at least clamp it in the vise. So just get it clamped in your fork steerer. Does the same thing. Adjustable saw guide, 5mm. Well, pinged well. Rebear that with this one here. Internal and external. Normally I'd use one of these, but because it's such a little amount of bar, I think it would just struggle and just fall off the end. So while I've got this set up, we'll just use it. Actually, thinking about it, I'm going to go and look at those hub adapters just now, because I've got to get them ordered and to get them for the weekend, which is not long away now. What is it, 3:30 now? I'm going to try and catch a next day delivery, I guess. So I'll just put this in loosely and go and get them ordered, hopefully. Right, so I've ordered the conversion caps. Funny story. So these hubs are made by SRAM, and SRAM decided when they made hubs, they're only going to make them compatible with RockShox forks. Obviously it's the same company, so they've made the end caps, so they'll only fit RockShox. Unfortunately, there's adapters available so you can drop it into a Fox fork, so they're on order. Cost actually pretty reasonable, £25. Amazon seems to be the only people that actually have them in stock, but they might not be here till Saturday, which might be a bit of a spanner in the works, but worst case scenario, I guess we could use this old wheel for now. There's a new one on me, I didn't know that. So obviously these brakes are coming off, but I need this brake lever to mount the gear lever to set the gears while we're waiting for the brakes. So temporarily this is going back on, just so I can operate the gears. There we go, so that's on. I'm just going to throw this gear cable through here and then see what we've got. Please be a full liner, please be a full liner, please be a full liner. It is a full liner. Of course it is, they all are, I think. How does it shift? Next question. Right. That's a good start. That's the gear lever spinning around the bar. Go down. I'm not checked this chain yet, it might be about 6 foot too long. The chain's actually well in spec, 0.5. So it's getting somewhere. We'll just cross this off. Shock patrol, done that. Wheels and tyres, keeping. Handlebars from Nomad, done. Dropper and seat from Nomad, not done. Drivetrain from Nomad if you can. Cranks, put longest on, done. Grips on handlebars from Nomad, yep. Brakes, keep. Berg Tech keep on this bike. Should have spare brakes, almost. Fox shocks when it comes off the Nomad. Right, we're getting there. On this one, shifter and mech from Patrol to Nomad if you can, done that. Flip chip, that's when we put the new shock on it. Wait for a new shock, wait for tyres, wait for CushCore. Wheels, we're keeping obviously. Handlebars, we've done. Please cut to 750, done. Dropper, we've got to do. Drivetrain, we've got to do. We've done that, sorry. Cranks, we've done. Grips, orange and new, I'm going to put them on when the brake levers are here. Brakes, Mavens. So we're getting somewhere. I think I'll call it a day for today. Wait for this magic delivery of all these new bits here, and wait for these adapters for the wheels as well, and then carry on. Getting there. So it's the next day. I'm going to just swap these droppers over, swapping it from that one to this one. Just going to measure them first, make sure they're actually the same size. Might be a quick job. Only 1.6. Obviously the clamps are the same, so you presume the posts are the same, and they are. Problem with dropper work, obviously you can't clamp it in the work stand, so you've got to kind of do it on the floor. They're both supported. There's no front wheel on this yet, obviously, because we're still waiting for those axle adapters. Spindle adapters. Sorry, I got told off yesterday for calling a bike axle and axle. Well, apparently it's called a spindle. Sorry. So the only slight challenge on here might be how this is held into the dropper. This is just a gear cable. Most of them are. But some of them have a special adapter that's attached to that gear cable. Out. Grab the other one. He's so helpful, honestly. Don't know how to manage without him. Alright, let's just whip this one out as well. So it has a little plastic piece here that clips onto the housing. The other one doesn't use that, so I mean technically I could cut this off. The 180 will work with or without this quite successfully, but it's just going to be easy just to run a new inner cable in these and connect them up, so I'll just do that quickly. Also a stainless steel die-drawn cable. Don't skimp out on a cable on these, don't fit it galvanised. So now I can put the Nomad post into here. Grease your post, guys. My seat post video came out yesterday, that's gone down very well. Some really good comments in there, actually some really good ideas that I might try on a future video. Right, that should be okay there. So I'll just throw this lever back on here, make sure it actually still works. Right, what you don't want is a post to sink down without pressing the lever. And that's not. Press the lever, which is not easy while it's not bolted to a bar. And that works. Let go of the lever and it stays down. Press the lever, and it comes up, so that's good. Same again, but we're just going to fit this piece of plastic to the cable. That's really the only difference. Like I say, these 180 posts will work without this plastic bit. I've tried it, and I think according to their website it will work without it as well. They designed it to be either or, so if you've lost it, it's not the end of the world. Again, just get some lube inside this. Alright, there you go. So these clamps are marked up as 5 Newton meters inside, so that's what you'll get. Don't over tighten these because it can dramatically affect the operation of the dropper. You're squeezing that too tight and it stops this working sometimes. Hook that up, test that one. Good to go on that one as well. So I've already thrown a gear cable back on this and they're all good. I think we're done with this bike now. I think this one can come out of the way. I'm just going to tie this lever up when we work out which one's going where when the Mavens arrive. But if not, that's just going to clamp straight back on the bar. It takes 2 seconds. So I'll get rid of this one now. I don't think we need it again. So it's a couple of days later now. Parts have finally arrived. We've missed a deadline. That wasn't my fault. Delivery was 2 days late. Anyway, the Patrol's ready to go, so that's going out today, and she can ride that today. I'll continue working on this. Next up, we're going to fit a new pair of tyres, tubeless obviously, and oh my God, help me. So I'm only open for a couple of hours today, so I'll get these wheels done and the CushCore, come back on Monday and chuck these brakes on. I'm going to do a separate video about the brakes, so in this video it will just be a very brief overview. And if you want to see the main one, it'll be a separate Wednesday video about Mavens. That's my plan. Alright, start with the easy one first, front wheel, no CushCore in this one. Just going to get this tyre off. These tyres are in really good condition, so I don't know what the plan is with these, but hey. Customer's always right, as they say. Take the valve out, get all the air out, and then you've got to break the bead. Just got to break the bead. Actually, a piece of cake on this one, that's good. That could be so challenging sometimes. Wow. Hanging off work stands, and oh my God. But that was easy. Going to end up with sealant absolutely everywhere, so it's probably a good idea to do this outside. In fact, I might do that because look at the mess it's making already. Wow. I'm just going to take this one off at the same time while I'm getting covered in sealant. Magic Mary's going on. This bike is a mullet, so we've got different size wheels. We've got a 29 on the front, 27.5 on the back. Don't ask me, I didn't invent the idea. Yeah, beautiful. Ultra soft. How long are these going to last? Obviously check the rotation of the tyre and make sure you get it right. You don't want to be doing this twice. And then just get it on. Line up your labels, you know the score on this one. So you just got to work it around the rim now, but obviously make sure the bead sits in the middle of the rim here because that's a shallower part of the rim. So it just gives you a bit more room. If you've got this bead on the edge of the wheel, you're going to struggle. So whenever you're doing it, make sure the whole bead is in the middle of the wheel. It's normally not too bad. One last check for direction and then we're just working it in. You have to bear in mind I've got massive arthritis in this thumb. Right, get to about there, and then again just make sure you squeeze this all the way down the middle. I have these CushCore bead buddies. The idea of this is when you get it a certain amount, you hook this in and it stops it unwrapping itself. You can use this like a Velcro strap or something, but in theory that should stop it peeling off now. To be honest, I've never used these before. I bought them after the last one because it was the worst day of my life, and I'll show you a picture of that later, but oh wow. There you go, no problem, no tyre levers. Right, let's get this beaded and then we'll get some sealant in there. I'll just use a compressor on this. It's the easiest way by a long way. Right, that ain't playing ball. When you get one like that, you've got a few options. Most people would tell you to fit an inner tube. So you would take this off, take the tubeless valve out, put an inner tube on, seat at least one side of the tyre, refit this tyre, refit your tubeless valve. I don't really want to do that because then you start messing around with this valve that we know seals all right, so I don't want to do that. So I will persevere. The other way of doing it is basically sort of strapping this tyre all the way down. People use cable ties all the way around, or a ratchet strap. Basically what you're trying to do is squash the carcass of the tyre there onto the rim, and then it will basically pop itself on eventually. But you do get them like this. They either go straight on. I've got a 100 litre compressor there and that's emptied that twice, so good luck doing that with a track pump. It ain't never happening, honestly. I have one of these booster pumps, so you would pre-charge this with what, 160 psi and release that into the tyre in one puff. Sometimes that works, but if this compressor's not doing it, this ain't going to work. Obviously make sure you don't have your valve core in there, because then if you do that you really restrict how much flow you can get in there. So there's no valve core in there at the moment, obviously. So I've got a ratchet strap on here now, and like I say, that's just going to squash the tyre onto the rim and hopefully make it fit a bit easier. Try and blow it all the way up with that one. Ain't working either. So that's emptied that 3 times so far and we're still not beaded the tyre. So I'll get some soapy water on the bead, but I don't think it's going to help because it's not even moving, it's physically just doesn't want to move. So the idea of that is it'll basically help the tyre slide up the walls of the wheel itself, but I don't think it's going to help, I'll tell you that. No chance. I'll try the booster, keep pumping until you get 160, boom, flood it all out. It's quite difficult in the end. Alright, that's full. And you just release this and it lets it all go in one blast. And fails miserably. So if all that fails like that did miserably, the only option really is to retape this rim. And actually looking at this rim, I'll show you what I think the problem is. Every single spoke hole here, the tape has sunken down quite deeply into all of these holes. So I think what the problem is, basically the tyre is bridging this hole on every single one of them and creating so many gaps like this sort of size. You're never going to get the air in there basically, so all the air is blasting out 32 of these holes while you're trying to inflate it rather than just sliding up the tape and beading itself. So I'm going to retape them. It is in good condition, but to be fair, I don't think it's ever going to be like that because all this is sunken down on every single spoke hole. So like I say, you're just losing so much volume while you try and get that initial bead. It ain't going to happen. So I'll retape it and try again. And actually looking at it, these valves are not CushCore compatible. We're putting a CushCore on the back, so we might struggle with the existing valve, so we'll take the opportunity to change them both at the same time. So we do have this race face offset spacer for this rim because it's an asymmetric rim, so we'll need that. So it's cleaned up pretty well actually. The only tape I've got wide enough, or nearly wide enough, is this muck off one, so we'll have to go with this. I've got a million tapes that I bought from AliExpress which are fantastic, like this one here, but they're just a bit narrow. I'll put a bit more on them as on before as well because it was a bit stingy. I always use Gorilla Tape on the join rather than the little patches they give you. Just does a better job. Try not to use it on the whole wheel because it's just impossible to get off. It was a great job, don't get me wrong, but wow, good luck getting that off. It's just a plastic trim tool. This is for cars. Does a good job though, it's nice and smooth. Right, so that is on. We're going to chuck a new valve in there, like I say. These valves are buck loss. Again, they're on my AliExpress tape video. And these are CushCore compatible because they've got vents basically in the side so the air can come out the side rather than ramming against the CushCore and not getting anywhere. So we'll use these will be fine. Hard to show you, but the profile of this rim is offset basically. So this spacer basically corrects that, like that. And then you put your O-ring on and you lock them, and then you tyre. Rotation that way, label that way. Let's go. Right, that's on. Place your bets. Actually, we've still got a valve core in there, let's take that out first. Right, valve core out. Let's go. There you go guys, straight on there. So obviously we know valve core in there, this air is just going to go blasting straight out, but try and control it, otherwise the tyre can potentially unbead itself again. Then you're back to square one. That's done, so we just need to put some sealant in that one and then fight the CushCore for the back wheel. Joys. So I just strip this back wheel tape off, retape that, and come back to you and we can have a look at the CushCore. It already hurts. Right, so I've retaped on that one. I'm going to throw this tyre on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the tyre on, bead it, and then take one of the beads off. Otherwise you just struggle for room for the CushCore in there. So I'll throw it on, bead it like the front tyre, and then pop one bead straight back off again. Then we can chuck the CushCore in. That's the plan anyway. I'm going to try and get this on first. Right, there you go, we'll just send it like that, just ride it, it'll be fine. Now we've got to get the tyre on. Right, so that's the tyre over the CushCore, step one. Right, once you finally get it started, get these bead buddies on pronto. And once you get it started, again, you've got to push this tyre underneath that CushCore to get the bead into the centre of the wheel, just the same as if you're doing it without CushCore. And it gives you the slack to get it up, and that's what this bead breaker is for, so you can do this, you just shove it down there. Right, so we're sort of 2/3 on there. These are strapped on now to hopefully prevent that bit peeling off, and then using your CushCore lever here to push the bead underneath the CushCore. This is way inside now, all that, you can't see any of the lines, so that's way inside the tyre. One side on, and then I've got to get the other side on, which is a bit easier now, it's all holding itself together, it's actually a little bit easier on the other side. Well, we're 50% of the way there. Oh, this is not easy guys, I don't care how many videos you watch. chop this thumb off, yeah, and then try and do it, and then tell me how easy it is. Trust me, this is f***ed. So they'll tell you to peel and fold, so basically peeling the tyre back there and pushing it at the same time. Peel and fold, peel and fold, peel and fold. So we're about halfway on this side now, so we need to use the CushCore lever again to shove this underneath. You don't want to be able to see this line wants to be tucked right underneath, and that gives you the slack to get the rest of it on. So that's the idea of it basically. So use your CushCore. If you've not got one of these, you're massively going to struggle. So you literally push it in and it drops underneath. You can be quite firm with this. You want that line to disappear along with your will to live. Right, again I'm going to strap these bits on now to preserve my progress. Game save if you want. I'm not finding these to be particularly helpful, I'll be honest. These are though. You're almost there. Nice and tight with these. Like that. And then we're just fighting this last piece here. Again, we've pushed all that bead underneath the CushCore, so we should have a lot of slack, so this should go on without too much difficulty. The actual tyre itself, remember, without a CushCore went on really, really easily. For a tubeless, it went on super easy, so it shouldn't be too bad. I am going to have to use a tyre lever though, guys. I do apologise, but it's just physically impossible otherwise for me. Peel and roll, peel and roll, peel and roll. Oh, we're getting there. We've only got this little bit here now. Save your game. So it's easy to get seat posts out and fit in these bloody things. Don't exaggerate. Alright, Magic Mary is on. Alright, we're done. Thank God for that. Now beat it and go for a rest for a week. Yeah, CushCore lever and some Velcro straps, guys, and it's a working thumb. It's not too bad. One of them bits missing. It's a nightmare. Again, still no valve core in here, so it will go down obviously, but that's not a problem. All good sounds. Right, that's on. Beautiful. Sealant wise, trust me, this is the best I've used, but a long, long way. It's never let me down yet. Fantastic stuff. Damn good shake there. Then inject it in. Obviously we're on CushCore here, so you might potentially get a bit of resistance, but we have got the right valve, so it should go in fairly easily, hopefully. There you go, straight in there. This is brilliant, this thing, honestly. I don't know, these guys that are pouring it in the bottom of the tyre, I don't get it. What a risk. I can't imagine pouring that in there and then fighting that tyre. Jeez, why would you want to do that? Try your valve core in. And we can go for a final inflation. I'll put a 30 in it and I'll leave it a couple of days, monitor it. Do your spinny fandangle thing, but once we get it back on the bike and we're going through the gears, etc., it'll get plenty of revolutions there, so not too fussed about this one at the moment. As long as it basically holds air, which it should. Oh no, the tyre's on backwards. I'm joking. Alright, bang some sealant in that front one. Job done. So quick pause in the build just to say thanks to sportandleisure.com for sponsoring this video. So when you're in the middle of a job, the last thing you want is progress to come to a grinding halt, because the part that said it was in stock, they weren't in stock, they weren't even in the same country. So that's why I use Sport and Leisure. They're UK based, their stock levels are live, the website says it's on the shelf, it genuinely is on the shelf, ready to go. If you order before 3 PM, it ships the same day with free delivery on all UK orders. Next day delivery is only £2.50, it's a no-brainer when you're trying to keep the work moving. So they've also updated the discount scheme for the channel. If you head over to sportandleisure.com/BCR or scan this QR code on the screen right now, it will generate a unique voucher at checkout for 10% discount on your first order. So if you're buying those parts anyway, it's an easy saving. The link's down below, and a massive thanks again to sportandleisure.com for continuing to support the channel. Alright, let's get this build finished off. Jumping back on this a couple of days later now, wheels are still there, still holding there, no problem. Bit of a mission, but got there in the end. I'll put this shock on next, I think. That should be pretty straightforward. This was spec'd by the shop, so hoping it's the right size. So pretty easy on this one, you just got to take this off. Obviously none of this is set yet, it's a brand new shock, so Knipex parallels, brilliant on suspension stuff, you don't mark up anything. Picture, make sure you get them back in the right place. Like I say, nothing's set up yet anyway, so it shouldn't make a huge amount of difference. Put your spring on. this on. Pretty easy this is. Chuck that back on and wind this down until you've got some tension there basically. Right, we'll hit a snag. So they've sent the shock, obviously the shock and the spring, but they've not sent any mounting hardware. This RockShox one is sort of 4mm too wide. Bushes will fit and the pin will fit, but these are too wide. So I'm going to have to order 2 Fox kits to continue with that one. Frustrating. This is what you get, unfortunately. I've got a box of spares, but I don't have enough to do both ends of the shock, unfortunately. So I'll come back to that. I'm going to jump on the brakes next. Of course, if you had a lathe, you could potentially shave this lip off here, and that would probably make it the right size, but I don't have one. I'm not about to start taking an angle grinder to a customer's bike, so they come in tomorrow, so we'll continue with brakes for now. Right, so we've got MAVENs going on, brand new set, as I say. Front and back, obviously, you're all pre-bled. We're going to have to cut the back one, obviously, to get it through the frame, but the front one should just bolt straight on. So as I mentioned, I'm going to do a separate video for install of these. For this video, you'll just get a very, very brief overview. If you want to see the other one, it'll be on the channel, probably a couple of days after this video drops, hopefully, but within a week or so. Right, let's get these chucked on. This has obviously got to come off. DOT fluid, so just be careful you're not splashing it all over the place when you cut it. And this has got to be pulled through the frame. So by all accounts, Santa Cruz are fully lined inside for cables, etc. So by all accounts, we should just be able to pull this all the way through, push a new one all the way through in one fell swoop. I am just going to put a drop of lube on this housing though, it just helps it slide through. Just like that. Once it gets going, you'll be fine. Obviously take the old caliper off. So I'm just going for it. I'm just going to pull this hose through now, at least to the halfway point. Just be mindful you got dot fluid in this hose, so be very careful you're not chucking it everywhere. Right, that's out. I'm just going to wipe down any areas potentially where you might have got a drop on it. The new levers are matchmaker. I was pretty sure they were going to be, but they are. So dropper and shifter will just go straight onto the new levers. So we are in the UK. Front brake, it goes on the right hand side. I had a comment the other day shouting at me, "You put the brakes on the wrong side." Chill guys, I'm in the UK, this is the law, this is the side they go on, okay. Just loosely bolting this on first, because obviously we've got to centre everything up and a few other bits and pieces first, but just get it somewhere close. Like I say, I've got to cut this hose off at the lever to get it through the frame, fit a new barb and olive when we get back to the lever, so let's do that. Obviously this is a mineral system now, so we're not flicking DOT fluid all over the place when we're dealing with these hoses. And then we find out if the internet's been lying to me. It should, in theory, just go all the way through and out the other side of the seat stay. And again, just going to very loosely bolt this in place. Thank you, Santa Cruz. Obviously, because we have cut the hose, we are going to need to bleed at least the lever. So with the new levers in place, we can just get these grips on now so we can get these levers in the right place. Give these a good whack. Tighten them up, 2 Newton meters. Right, so just hold that hose up to the lever. So we need about sort of 10 mil past this olive, be about there. But make sure you can turn this bar through 90 degrees first. Critical. So this is going to be the tightest way, like that. Obviously that's too tight, you can see that tension on that hose now. And the bar needs to be able to go pretty much all the way around. I mean, if you got this far around, you got big issues, but you need to have some slack to be able to accommodate that. So that there is going to be pretty much about right. So when you're confident that's going to be acceptable, trim the hose. And then we need to put a new barb and olive in this. And to give you new ones anyway, because they're expecting you to have to cut this down. So this literally just screws in. They even give you the tool to do it. So then you screw this one on. And we just need to torque this up. Okay, just wipe up any fluid. We are, again, I'll remind you, we're on mineral fluid. All we're doing is basically moisturising the brake lever with baby oil. A bit more technical than that, but you get the idea. It's not melting any paint, don't worry. Slip that back on, and that's that trimmed. So we do need to bleed this lever. A few other bits to do first there. Alright, so we can get these swapped over now. These literally just pull off and push on, and that'll drop into that fork then, no problem. So these should just pull off, hopefully. I might need to get them in the vise, but they shouldn't be that difficult. They're just mounted in the soft jaws in the vise now, so just clamping that end cap very gently. And all I'm going to do then is just give the wheel a good whack upwards, and the end cap should stay in the vise. Like that. There you go, so that stays in there. Repeat on the other side. Clamp it in, and like I say, just a good whack. There you go. Make sure you use aluminium soft jaws, don't just clamp it in here. We'll get it out, but wow. And these new caps are literally going to push on. Pretty clean in there. It's got some Shimano grease in there as well. Top it up with some finish line there. The only purpose of this grease is really for a little bit of extra weather protection, but make sure you grease on the inside of these as well. And then just push on, that's it. Not rocket science. We're going to change this rotor for the new ones. To be honest, this looks in pretty good condition, but full new brakes, get them bedded in on new rotors. Right, I can go in the bike now. Just put the dropper lever onto this bracket. What a stupid design that is. This little bit here falls out, so you've got to take the whole thing off, do it upside down. Oh my god. Terrible design. Anyway, it's on. So get that somewhere close. Again, we can adjust all this later. This red bit is just packaging. Get rid. It's one of the inventions I do approve of over the last, I don't know how long these have been out, but when shifters and brake levers both needed their own clamp, took up a lot of space. These are a really good idea. Right, so the front wheel's in. This is the old rotor. We are putting a new one on. But again, we're just checking this adapter, see if it needs it or not. So I've just checked through there again, as I did with the back one, and we are clearing the full rotor, so that's good. Yeah, the adapter's the right place. Got to change this rotor. We've got to do the piston massage thing that they want you to do. So with the piston massage thing, basically you want to put this thinner end in first, and this will clip in as well. Like that, and then you just pump your lever until the lever travel stays the same. Pull this back out, and then you're pushing this thicker end in to push the pistons back out, and you repeat this 3 or 4 times. What you're doing really is making sure all the pistons are travelling evenly. Because we have cut that hose on the lever, we're just going to give it a very quick bleed. Most of the air, if there's any, will be in just the end of the hose at the lever end. We'll just force liquid up from here, and that'll just take it straight out. And the bleeding edge at the back, half turn or so, and we just push this through. This is obviously open. There you go. Quite a bit actually. In this case of pulling a vacuum on this ever so slightly, and then pressurising the system. So just pulling this ever so slightly, just to get rid of that. And then I'm going to pressurise it again. Bit of isopropyl alcohol on this. That's on the bleed block there. That is rock solid. Drop your pads back in. These tabs here go at the front, otherwise they catch on here. Again, make sure your gloves are clean. That'll drop in there. Drop this pin back through. And this pin don't need to be very tight. It's not holding the calipers together, remember. There's only a thread this side, not this side, so it's not actually physically pulling anything together. It's literally just a safety clip. Drop this clip on. That done. Right, we're just going to do the piston massage. I'm just going to do that off camera. It's exactly the same as the front. Wedge it in, squeeze your lever, and repeat. Case of changing these rotors over now. Like I say, we're basically a straight swap, exactly the same rotor going on. And these actually do look in pretty good condition, but just paid for them, so we're getting new ones on. Clean this up while you got that off. That's the only chance you get. So the wheel's back in the bike with a fresh rotor. Just squeezing this lever just to get the pads to where they want to be. And that lever feels really, really nice. Solid. And then they rub in. Right, so front wheel's in. I've had to do a quick axle swap with the Patrol. I didn't realise, to be perfectly honest, I didn't realise that Fox and RockShox had a very, very slightly different thread pitch on this side. So it fitted one fork, but not vice versa. So we just swapped the axles back over. So this is the original axle that came with this fork from the other bike, and vice versa. So everyone's happy now. So once they're all fitted, bled, massage, whatever, we've just got to bed them in. So I'm fortunate enough to have a proper bedding in machine. A lot of you won't have that, so you'll need to follow Schramm's recommendations on the road. For this one, I'm using this beauty. So I have shown this on quite a few of my other videos. I've done a video just about this actually, where it's fantastic bit of kit, just a bedding in rotors. Right, so we are on 200mm rotors, regular 4-piston. So they've got Ice Tech 4-piston or regular 4-piston. So we're going to go program A. And I fast forward to it because it's quite noisy and takes quite a while. Oh, job done. I feel good. One fingertip locking that up now. So while we got the bike out of the stand, it's going to go on. Clean hands. It wasn't my choice. I think it looks kind of cool, I guess. But clean these up. I'd always advise just a smidge of grease on these, just to stop any clicks and creaks on the bolt as well. Bit on these bits. Oh, I think that's about level. What do we think? Check this headset while it's out of the stand as well. Needs a little bit of adjustment. A bit better. Check our alignment now. We're adjusted the tension. It looks pretty good. I'll torque this up as well. Let's get back up for the last couple of bits, hopefully. Still waiting for these spacers for the shock, but that'll be tomorrow's 5-minute job then. Right, last job for today while we're still waiting for that shock mount is, I've got some new stickers to put on. So what we're going to do is peel these off, stick them on. Can't be that difficult, can it? Right, heat them up with your little part tool heat gun. Busted. So it's come off reasonably well. I'm going to stick this on now. I'm just going to use these centre lines here and here. Get this one on, and this one on. Don't really need that one. Can put it on there. Not too bad. I think that's straight. Oops, anyway, I'll stick the other one on just now. Not too bad actually. Right, finally got these bits so we can get the shock on. We don't need most of this kit, to be perfectly honest. We don't need these bushes. This will just obviously go in here. And these O-rings go on. Goes on there. That's a good fit. One goes on there. And squeeze this in the vise gently. Gonna make room for this piece on the end as well with these dimples. These go on the inside here. Get that mounted evenly like that. And then this last piece here with these little dimples, that goes on there. It'll hold itself in when you get it in the frame. Finally that can go on there. Just got to put these in at the same time because they just fall off otherwise. Let's get it in. Right, just dropping this in there. It's a good fit with these little bits on. Jeez. So that's basically in. I'll tighten that up in a minute. Let's get the rear bolt in first, which is a bit more challenging. Torqued. Right, we're on. Right, shock is on, finally. So that's all done. I'm just going to go for one final torque check across everything on here because obviously I've moved quite a lot of bits, so I'm just going to make sure everything is tight and we'll just wrap up at the end. Bear with. Right, I'll just double check this list, but I think we have done. We've got a spare shock, we've got a spare set of brakes, correct. Flip chip low, shock done, tyres done, CushCore done. Rims, obviously we're keeping those. Dropper and seat from Patrol done. Grips, orange new. Brakes new, MAVEN. Tick, we are done. All done. Well, that was a job and a half, wasn't it? There's so many bits and pieces. Even these fork stickers that weren't on the original list, but they're done anyway. Big job that, and editing this video is going to take even longer. Let me tell you, I've got 6 hours footage to get down to something a bit shorter than that, hopefully, but yeah. I'll crack on with that and hopefully I'll release this video for you in the next week or so. Hope you enjoyed it. Loads and loads of stuff on there. I've gone for a quick spin on it. Wow, it's working really, really nicely. These brakes are fantastic. Such good power on these. Anyway, this bike's been collected tomorrow. It's off to Wales for an off-road bike park. You may have seen those little tags on the bars. That's for a Wales bike park. So the maiden run is down the side of a mountain. So fingers crossed I'll put it together right. I think it's fine, don't worry. I've just checked all the torque and everything is sweet. So if you did enjoy the content and you want to see more like this, please consider hitting that subscribe button. You know what to do. Get notifications, hype, share, all that great stuff. It really, really does help the channel grow. Big plans for the year. I need your help to achieve them. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day and thank you very much for watching.